how do you go about creating the specific house of the Duke of Jevington and all those great details about like the vases and the artwork and the carpet? Do you do anything? Do you do new research every time you're creating new characters?
Yeah, I mean, I really like Pinterest. I think it's wonderful at, giving you ideas for rooms. You can see a lot of rooms, yeah, available there. And I like just taking the time to describe them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it does so much to set up a scene to place those details. Do you find yourself adding research into your writing process, or does it just kind of come naturally?
Yeah, I think it comes naturally now. Obviously, when I started, I spent a long time listening to audiobooks and reading books about the Regency period, biographies about famous people then. Now I have to do a bit less of that, but as far as, describing a room, I'll sometimes actually ask my readers for help. That's sort of a fun activity to do to engage them. I'll ask them in my readers group. I'll give them two options for desks, for burrows, for
Oh,
sideboards,
nice.
and I'll ask which one, do you think is better? Or what color should Margaret wear at the ball? What color dress should she wear? And they really love doing that. And it's sort of fun for me because I don't mind going in either direction. And then they get that, yeah, they get to feel involved in the book, which they are. They completely are. So
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So one question I have is, in the bio, it mentions you've written 20 books. How has your mentality towards writing grown or changed since book one to sustain 20 plus books?
yeah, I mean, I feel like I've gone through every stage. When I started my first book, I was working very closely with review partners. And I think I wrote the book, and then they had input on every single chapter. I used Scribophile, which at least back in the day, it was wonderful. I have no idea how it is now. But that was really great to get feedback from different authors on every single chapter, and also to learn how to give feedback myself at the
Mhm.
same time. Um, and then, yeah, I think I went through a period like a lot of people did a few years ago when it was almost like a militaristic view of you have to write as many books as possible, which even if you knew that's sort of damaging, that's not really great. It was so pervasive in the writing culture that I sort of found myself doing that as well. And I will
Mhm.
say that the year I wrote the most books, 6 books, so not very many compared to others, but I am a more slow writer, was the year that I made the least amount of money because I didn't have the time to promote the books, to really engage the readers and get them excited about that. So now I write more slowly, and that's fine too. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that it is a really interesting balance of business versus creative when people are saying, you have to release a book a month. It's like, well, how can I write a book a month? How can I write a book a year? Like
Right?
it's a very
That was considered
strange
a lot
dictate.
back in the day, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And I know you've written some historical mysteries too. And I love reading mysteries. And I tried writing a mystery for one of my novels. And I was like, wait a second, this is not as much fun as writing a romance. And so I quickly was like, I'm scrapping that. I'm just doing romance. So I'm curious from you, do you also feel that it kind of is a different craft or it requires a different headspace?
I I suppose so. I do like switching them back and forth because I like researching different time periods as well. I wrote one series set in the 1930s, leading up to World War II. That was fascinating.
Uh,
Obviously, I like history. My latest series is set in the Gilded Age in Boston, where I'm originally from. So that was sort of personally fun for me to see what things were like. And as far as the mysteries, I actually grew up reading more mysteries than romances. Yeah, I didn't read a romance for a really long time. Like my babysitter had romances that I read when I was 9 years old. And they were these Christian romances. We were living in Japan, and she was a child of missionaries, but she had all these Christian romances. So for a long time, I just thought it was like a Christian thing. And I remember taking my, insisting my dad take me to the Christian bookshop. I'm Catholic, so I was like, oh, the Protestants have these great books. Um, and then, being very disappointed, like I was not seeing the romances there. Yeah, so, but yeah, eventually I discovered them and absolutely love the genre. It's all about, women and making sure women have happy endings. And I think that's so fat. I mean, obviously, whatever gender
Yeah.
composition is in the book, but I think it's so empowering and so nice.